One thing Tess Holliday is known for being, and that is outspoken. And today we are going to get her outspoken opinions about obesity and mortality. This girl a mess, y'all. Hi guys, welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been around here a while. I'm Kendra, this is Kendra Creates. This is my space where I share my life with you guys. I also talk about random stuff on the internet, and today is one of those days. So if that stuff sounds good to you, then make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Also, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up while you are at it. So today we're going to be talking about Tess Holliday, and if you don't know who she is heavy in the body positivity, like fat acceptance movements. I guess you could consider her a fat activist. She was once, I don't know if she models anymore, but she was once a model, whatever. And she's really heavy into body positivity and accepting your fat body. And a lot of the statements that she makes are wild and crazy. And today we are going to be talking about one of those wild and crazy statements that she made. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Yes.
Okay, so funny story. I've actually never shared this, and I don't know if I'm technically allowed to, but I'm going to. Years ago, I was on the Steve Harvey show, and it was his plus size appreciation show. So it was me, a very famous comedian who I won't name just because I don't, just in case. And the audience was a plus size audience, entirely plus size. So he's asking his question, mostly about like my career and our lives, things like that. And then all of a sudden he looks at me and he said, well, you don't see too many people that are older that are your size. And of course I'm invited to be his guest. So at first I was like, what do you mean? And then I was like, oh, I realize what you're doing. And as quick as I could, I looked at him and I said, well, you must not be where I'm from. So that's the same thing I'll tell you, baby. I'm from Mississippi, Mississippi. Okay, we're not good at a lot of things, but what we are good at is being fat, okay? There's a lot of fat old folks. And guess what? I always tell people I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, and neither do you, so you can kiss my fat.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. And if you guys, Tess Holliday is from Mississippi. I'm originally from Louisiana, so I'm right next door. Our obesity rates are nearly the same. And so when she talks about how Steve Harvey has said, well, you don't see many people, your size older. And in her mind, she's thinking like, oh, I saw old fat people all the time. And you probably did. But were they actually your size? And were they like really, really old? Yes, there are anomalies. People may live to be 70, 80, and over 300 or 400 pounds. But my whole thought process is, okay, they're alive, but what are they doing? And in Steve Harvey's case, like, why doesn't he see them? So a lot of times those people are large, but they're in the house. They don't go anywhere. Like, especially with today's technology, you can order everything in. You can order your groceries. You can order fast food. You can order whatever you want, and it can be brought straight to your door. And then, as we see on 600 Pound Life, because I know you guys watch 600 Pound Life, they are full of enablers. Those people, relatives, spouses, whomever, they bring everything to them and they do everything for them. So they enable that continuous behavior. So it is very, very possible that you don't see very many large older people because they're dead. And if you don't see them, but they're alive, it's because they're in the house. Because they are sick, they are weak, they are tired, they don't get around well, and they don't feel like going anywhere. And that could be from their health conditions, or it could also just be from how they feel about themselves. A lot of those larger people that have to get around in the grocery store using the motorized scooters, they don't even want to be seen. They're embarrassed. And a lot of people do not see them because they don't either want to be seen, and something that could greatly affect their mental health, or they don't want to go, either because they don't feel like it, they're tired, or they're suffering from some kind of ailments that make it hard for them to get around. And you have to ask yourself, what kind of life is that to live? Yeah, you're alive, but are you really living? Now, let's talk about Mississippi and Louisiana. Since they're next door neighbors, I would say I grew up relatively similar, probably to Tess. We both grew up fat, and we were like that for the majority of our lives. We grew up in rural areas, poor areas, areas where we saw lots of obese people, and obesity and being unhealthy in general was pretty normalized. So I would say that we have a lot in regards to that. So what is there to say about Mississippi? So according to the University of Mississippi Medical Center, the uncontrolled epidemic of obesity is wreaking havoc on the state. And 1 out of 3 adults are considered obese, ranking Mississippi as the fattest state and getting fatter. And obesity predisposes us to a whole host of chronic diseases and negative health consequences. And we already know this stuff, right? Because a lot of times when we get those diseases that are caused by obesity, they are chronic. They last forever, usually until obesity is resolved. And a lot of those diseases, we can put a Band-Aid on it. We can prescribe a medication to control it, but we still have that disease. And they go on to list a couple of those, including hypertension, which is high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, a neurodegenerative disease, diabetes, and even cancer. And it says these conditions kill many Mississippians each year. And at a minimum, they rob us of the quality of life. And I think this is the part that a lot of people kind of miss. Like, oh, I'm not gonna die, or I'm not dead yet, or mama lived till she was 50 or 60. But what about that quality of life? We've saw creators on this internet, for instance, Glitter and Lasers, Anna O'Brien, talk about, complain, tell you how hard it is traveling while being fat. You can't shop for good clothes. Chairs are not big enough to fit you. You can't hoist yourself up on a boat rope. Like, you can barely fit into a bathroom, and you have trouble on the plane going over there. I know you guys have saw J-Bay on the internet, and she is like rallying for all of this plus size accommodated travel stuff, which I want to do a video on that because I went and looked at her TikTok and I was like, this girl crazy. Like, no one is doing that. No one is gonna like reconfigure and whole entire airplane to fit a couple of plus size people that might want to travel. Like, honestly, think about it. How many plus size people J-Bay size, are really traveling that often to where an airline would profit from all of these plus size people that wanted to travel? They don't, because it's a hassle. If it's a hassle for a normal size person, you already know it's going to be a hassle for a plus size person. All the walking that you have to do in the airport, and if you're traveling somewhere and you're trying to sightsee and stuff, that's more walking. That will wear a big person out. Been there, done that, I know. And let's talk about Louisiana. Louisiana has one of the highest obesity rates in the US, with 47.9% of adults in the state having a BMI of 30 or higher. That's nearly half. And I know everybody talks about BMI. People hate BMI. Y'all gonna go easy on BMI, okay? But this is a BMI of 30. 30. We're talking about obese. We're not talking about overweight. We're not talking about 10, 15, 20 pounds. We're not talking about that. We're talking about obese, a BMI of 30, okay? According to the CDC. And I know that just because your BMI is heavy, that doesn't mean that most people who have a BMI of that size are obese and are heavy and they have health problems, or if they don't have health problems now, they'll have them in the future. You just aren't running across all these bodybuilders or people with, large masses of muscle with high BMIs. That's just not happening, okay? With a BMI of 25 to 30 is considered overweight. And I know a lot of people fall in that category. Right now, I'm just on the cusp of normal. Like I'm almost in the overweight category. Of those, 12.7% of Louisianians have a BMI higher than 40, which indicates severe obesity, okay? So that's more of approaching that kind of like death fat range. And I've been in all of those categories. My BMI has been over 40, my BMI has been over 30, and right now I'm considered a normal BMI, which is amazing from, where I've been and where I've been my whole life. But as someone who grew up in a fat state, who was surrounded by nothing but fat people, who was fat all my life, I'd rather live a life that's worth living, even if it's short, versus living with chronic disease for a long period of time. Because most likely I'm going to be sick and shut in. I'm going to be in the house. I'm going to be tired. I'm not going to want to go anywhere. I'm not going to want to do anything. And I'm not going to have like a good disposition to the people around me. Think about my 600-pound life. Those people on that show are miserable. And they make everybody around them miserable too. Like, they are mean, a lot of those people, and they're dealing with a lot of mental issues too. So I think it's quite interesting in her next clip how she talks about how like she's good at being fat, as if that is something to brag about. But I must say that being fat, like getting to that actual size and weight, is really easy to do. You just eat. You just loaf around, don't go exercising, eat whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, as much as you want. You have no type of drive to do anything physical or physically active related. You have no self-control. You, like I said, eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, eat it whenever you want, drink it whenever you want. And a lot of people that are good at being fat and that have approached the level of fatness because it's so easy to do, a lot of those people are suffering from addictions to food and BED, where it's really easy to be uncontrolled in their eating. And while it's so easy to get to that level and be fat, it's hard to live with being fat. It's hard. And we're not talking about like from a vanity level. We're not even talking about from like clothing styles or, attracting a mate or considered being popular, any of that. We're talking about living with yourself, your level of energy, your ability to be physically active and do things and get out and enjoy life, your state of health, physical health. Are you really healthy? Do you have disease? Are you taking a whole bunch of medications? And not only physical health, but mental health too. Has this size made you so self-conscious about yourself that you don't want to go outside? Or you now have feelings of anxious or anxiety because you feel like you may go to sleep and never wake up? Are you depressed with just looking in the mirror because you don't like the person that you've become? And this is why it's so hard being fat. And of course, Tess rounds out her video by saying that she is here for a good time and not a long time. While she makes being fat look very glamorous as she lives her life of a model, you know, she struts her stuff, she wears her skimpy clothes, and she's very glamorous. She gets her makeup done, she gets her hair done, she gets her facials, whatever things that ladies do to keep their appearance up. But it's not glamorous at all. And while you may be here for a good time, everybody Tess's size and those that are obese, severely obese, are not having a good time at all. They are suffering from disease. They are not being a fun person to be around. They're not doing the things that they used to do. Indeed, they are not living their ideal lives. So, who are you to say if they will have a good time if they aren't here for a long time? And even if they are here for a long time, will they have a good time? So let's not just talk about the longevity of life, but let's also talk about the quality of life. And are people who are severely overweight, obese, are they really having a good quality life and living it like they want to live it and do the things that they want to do? Let's just think about that, shall we? I hope you guys enjoy this video because I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy making and talking. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Once again, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you continue to spread kindness and a word full of hate. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.